All right, let's kick things off.
Sounds good.
Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time, we're going to be looking at some of the most insane live music events of all time.
Right.
Concerts that went beyond just, being shows and actually became cultural touchstones.
I like that.
The touchstones.
Huh?
So we're dissecting this list of the top 10.
Okay.
And, the word insane can be very subjective.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Lots of ways to define that.
But I think we're going to be focusing on,
Sure.
things like cultural impact,
Yeah.
historical importance,
Yeah.
and just raw energy.
It's just that intangible wow factor.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
a wow.
That's something special.
So to give you an idea,
Yeah.
we're talking about things like,
Right.
the massive counterculture explosion of Woodstock 69,
Of course.
the raw, rebellious energy
Yeah.
of the Sex Pistols at Lesser Free Trade Hall.
Such a legendary show.
Uh-huh.
And then something like
Yeah.
the mind-bending theatricality of David Bowie as Ziggy Stardust.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah.
Different flavors of insane, for sure.
It's a wide range.
Yeah,
And I'm excited to dig into this with you.
I am too.
So
Where should we begin?
let's start with
Okay.
the big one,
Right.
Woodstock 69.
The granddaddy of them all.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to overstate
I know.
the scale of this event.
Just massive.
Hundreds of thousands of people
Unbelievable.
converging for 3 days of
It's hard to fathom that many people in one place.
I know.
For that long.
peace, love, and music. I mean, this was a defining moment
It really
for
was.
the counterculture movement.
Yeah.
This was a generation that was rejecting the Vietnam War
Oh, yeah.
and embracing
Big time.
a new vision of society.
It felt like a whole new world was being born,
Yeah, and what's fascinating to me is
What's up?
that the organizers, they hadn't planned
Right.
for such a massive turnout.
They were expecting maybe, 50,000 people?
Yeah, something like that.
And it just exploded.
And so the infrastructure crumbled,
Oh, yeah.
the fences came down.
Which is kind of amazing in a way.
Yeah, and it just became this
Yeah.
free-flowing, chaotic, beautiful mess.
I mean, talk about going with the flow.
Yeah.
They had to just completely rethink everything on the fly.
And, think about that.
Yeah.
1969,
Yeah.
no social media,
Yep.
no cell phones,
Just word of mouth.
just word of mouth.
And a shared desire for
I know.
something different.
And it wasn't just the big names
Oh, no.
like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin.
Right.
It was that
It was the vibe.
sense of community, that shared experience of
Collective energy.
something so unexpected,
Totally.
so unplanned.
It felt like a whole generation was saying, we're done with the old rules.
Yeah, rejecting the establishment,
That's
trying to
fair.
build something new.
And they did, in a way.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that energy...
Took a dark turn.
Oh, man.
Just a few months later
Yeah.
at Altamont Speedway.
Oh,
Free concert. Headlined by
Yeah.
the Rolling Stones.
Stones. Yeah.
Trying to capture that same magic,
Yeah. To be like another Woodstock.
Yeah.
But the choice of the Hells Angels for security,
Oh, boy.
not a good idea.
Proved disastrous.
That's putting it mildly.
The violence,
This is a nightmare.
the death of Meredith Hunter,
Just awful.
it shocked the nation.
It really did.
It really did.
It made everyone question everything.
I mean, was that solely on the Hells Angels?
Well,
Or did the organizers bear some responsibility
that's the question, isn't it?
by creating an environment where that level of aggression
Right.
could erupt?
Because on one hand, you have the Hells Angels, known for their, let's just say their rough reputation.
Yeah. And then on the other, you have the organizers
Right.
maybe not fully understanding
Yeah.
the potential consequences
Maybe a little naive, thinking the good vibes would just carry over.
of their choices.
Yeah.
It's chilling.
It really is.
How quickly
Yeah.
things went from peace and love
Right. Yeah.
to something so dark.
It's a stark reminder that any large gathering, especially one fueled by that kind of energy,
Yeah.
can be unpredictable.
Yeah, and it makes you question
Mm-hmm.
how much control organizers or
Yeah.
even the artists themselves
Right.
can have over the collective energy of a crowd.
You can try to set the tone, but ultimately the crowd has a life of its own.
That's true.
Sometimes.
Right. It's that interplay
But-
between the music,
Yeah.
the crowd,
Uh-huh.
and the cultural context.
It's a fascinating mix.
That's so fascinating.
Definitely.
Speaking of control,
Okay.
let's fast forward to 1985
All right.
and Live Aid.
Live Aid. Now that was something else.
This was a completely different
Yeah.
kind of event. A global effort using music
Right.
to raise funds
To try and make a difference.
for famine relief in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And, for many people,
Oh, yeah.
the highlight of that entire event
Absolutely.
was Queen's performance.
Queen at Wembley.
At Wembley Stadium.
Iconic.
What's incredible
Well, there are a lot of incredible things about it.
is how strategically
Oh, yeah.
they structured their 20-minute set,
They knew exactly what they were doing.
going from Bohemian Rhapsody
Just brilliant.
to Radio Gaga.
The energy just builds and builds.
Building the energy.
And Freddie
Oh, man.
to an absolute frenzy.
Freddie was in his element that day.
Yeah, it wasn't just a concert.
Right.
It was a master class.
A master class.
And captivating
Yeah.
a global audience.
He owned that stage.
I remember seeing it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Even as a kid, I was blown away
I bet.
by Freddie Mercury's stage presence.
Yeah.
He's electric. He commanded the entire stadium,
Yeah.
and in a white tank top and jeans, no less.
Yeah, just commanding that whole stadium.
Just presence.
In a white tank top and jeans.
It's amazing.
And, their performance
Yeah.
being broadcast live
Across the world.
across continents.
Yeah.
It raised millions.
Millions and millions.
And completely changed the landscape of
It really did.
charity events.
I mean, it showed what was possible.
It showed how music,
Yeah.
combined with the power of television,
Yeah.
could create a shared global experience
You brought the world together
and inspire action.
for a good cause.
It's interesting how technology
Yeah.
plays into this concept of insane.
In so many ways.
From the limited resources at Woodstock
Yeah, they were making it up as they went along.
to the global reach of Live Aid,
Totally different world.
the tools available
Yeah.
to artists
Mm-hmm.
and organizers
Right.
play a huge role in shaping the impact
For sure.
of these events.
Right. You can't separate the technology from the experience.
You can't.
No.
And speaking of groundbreaking performances,
Oh, yeah.
that pushed
Yeah.
technological boundaries.
I'm intrigued.
We have to go back to Woodstock
Okay, back to the source.
and talk about
Let's hear it.
Jimi Hendrix.
Hendrix. All right.
Oh, man.
What a legend.
Hendrix at Woodstock was revolutionary.
Absolutely groundbreaking.
His use of feedback,
Right.
creating the psychedelic soundscapes.
Using the technology to create something totally new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with his guitar.
Nobody had ever heard anything like it before.
It was like nothing anyone had ever heard.
He was a
before.
true innovator.
Exactly. He wasn't just playing the guitar.
Right.
He was manipulating its sound.
Yeah.
Creating this sonic experience
Mm-hmm.
that was raw,
Raw.
experimental,
Oh.
and completely mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
It's still mind-blowing today.
His rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Distorted and infused with feedback
So powerful.
became an iconic moment.
One for the history books.
A reflection
Yeah.
of the turbulent
Mm-hmm.
political landscape.
You could feel the tension, the unease, the hope, all mixed together.
It's like he was taking something familiar.
Like the anthem.
Yeah, the national anthem.
Right.
And twisting it,
Yeah.
making it a statement
Absolutely.
about the Vietnam War,
Hmm.
the protests,
The whole chaotic energy of that era.
the whole chaotic energy of that era.
Yeah.
It wasn't just music.
No.
It was social commentary.
Yeah.
In its rawest form.
Raw and powerful.
And his influence on guitarists was
Oh, immense.
immense.
I mean, he changed the game.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
the instrument wasn't just about
Right.
melody and chords.
It was about so much more.
It could be a tool for creating
They're creating
entirely new
Yeah,
soundscapes.
expanding the possibilities.
He expanded the possibilities
For sure.
of what the guitar could do.
He showed the world what was possible.
Speaking of expanded possibilities,
Okay.
The Who
All right.
at the Isle of Wight Festival
Another legendary show.
in 1970
Yeah.
was another insane event,
Definitely insane.
even bigger than Woodstock
Wow. Really?
in terms of attendance.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's wild.
they played a marathon set
Oh, wow.
that captured the raw power
The Who at their peak.
and intensity of a band at their peak.
You can feel the energy just listening to the recordings.
Their performance of My Generation
Oh, come on.
was electrifying.
That's the one.
The symbol of youthful rebellion
Uh-huh.
and the raw energy
Yeah.
of rock and roll.
Pure rock and roll energy.
The Who,
Yeah,
with their explosive stage presence,
Oh, yeah. They knew how to put on a show.
and Pete Townshend's iconic windmilling guitar technique.
Such a classic move.
Yeah,
It's like he was battling the guitar.
they completely embody
Yeah.
the spirit
Yeah.
of that era.
That raw, rebellious spirit.
It's interesting how the size
Yeah.
of these
The
festivals,
sheer number of people.
the sheer number of people,
Yeah.
seem to fuel.
It's like a feedback loop.
Yeah.
The more people, the more energy.
The intensity of
Yeah.
the performances.
And the more energy, the wilder the crowd gets.
It's like there's a feedback loop
For sure.
between the artist
Uh-huh.
and the
You
audience,
can feed off each other.
amplifying the energy
It's a collective experience.
and creating a shared experience
Right.
that transcends the individual.
It becomes something bigger than all of them.
There's definitely a collective energy
Oh, yeah.
that emerges
It's palpable.
in these massive gatherings,
Yeah.
a feeling of
They can feel it in the air.
shared purpose or rebellion.
Like electricity.
Yeah,
That amplifies the impact of the music.
that amplifies the impact of the music.
Absolutely.
But insane isn't always about
Sure.
stadium-sized crowds.
It can be much more intimate. Yeah.
Sometimes it's about a
Sometimes it's a small, sweaty club.
small, sweaty club
Where a musical revolution is brewing.
where a musical revolution is brewing. You're thinking of
Yeah.
the Sex Pistols at the Lesser Free Trade Hall
Oh, yeah, that one.
in Manchester, 1976.
Such a legendary show.
Right.
Not a massive festival,
But
but
Often cited
what I'm cited
as the gig
Yeah.
that sparked
The punk rock movement.
the birth of punk.
And it's important to
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
the context
Its
here.
context is
Written in the mid-70s
Yeah.
was a powder keg
Socially and economically.
of social
Lots of unrest.
but economic unrest.
Yeah, people were fed up.
High unemployment
Mm.
strikes a sense that
The old ways weren't working.
the old ways weren't working.
Exactly.
And the Sex Pistols,
yeah.
with their raw, aggressive sound
In your face.
and anti-establishment lyrics. Oh, yeah.
Tapped into that frustration
Gave a voice to the voiceless.
and gave it a voice.
Yeah.
Their performance
Yeah.
at Lesser Free Trade Hall
Uh-huh.
wasn't just a concert.
It was a statement.
It was a declaration of war
A rebellion.
on the status quo,
Against everything.
a rejection
The polished stadium rock
of the polished
Yeah.
stadium rock
that dominated the music scene.
that dominated
Dude,
the music scene.
They were like, we're not playing that game.
It was messy,
Messy.
chaotic,
Chaotic.
and utterly
Oh, they-
electrifying.
It changed everything.
And what's fascinating
What's that?
is that only about 40 people attended that gig.
That's wild.
Yet its impact was
Seismic.
seismic.
Like a ripple effect.
It's like a sonic big bang,
Yeah.
sending shockwaves
Or the industry.
through the music industry
Yeah.
and igniting a
A
movement
movement.
that would change the face
Yeah.
of rock music.
Punk changed everything.
It shows you
It-
that insane doesn't always
Right.
correlate with size.
It's not about the numbers.
It's about the power
Yeah.
of an idea,
It's about the energy
the energy of a
Yeah.
moment,
of a moment.
and the way music can tap into
Yeah,
the
zeitgeist.
zeitgeist
That feeling in the air
Yeah.
that something's about to change.
and spark a revolution.
It's powerful stuff.
Speaking of revolution,
Okay, let's hear it.
let's move from
All right.
the sonic rebellion of punk
Yeah.
to the visual
Oh, I like this transition.
and artistic revolution
Okay.
of David Bowie.
Bowie. Right.
Specifically, his alter ego,
One of the greats.
Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust.
Now, this wasn't
Right,
one
yeah.
single concert,
No.
but a series of performances
The whole era.
throughout the early 70s
Yeah.
that became,
Legendary reasoner.
for a reason,
Ziggy was
an androgynous alien rock star.
an androgynous alien rock star
Yeah.
with flamboyant costumes.
Makeup.
Yeah.
The makeup was iconic.
Oh.
And this incredible
He was like a character come to life.
stage presence.
Yeah. Bigger than life.
Bowie's performances
Yeah.
as Ziggy
Uh-huh.
weren't just concerts,
No, they were
theatrical experiences
Yeah.
that challenged gender norms,
Pushing boundaries.
embraced the theatrical and pushed the boundaries
Yeah.
of what a rock star
Of what a rock star.
could be.
Ooh, could be.
He was a master of persona,
Oh, yeah.
creating this character
Blurring the lines between reality and fantasy.
that blurred the lines
Yeah.
between reality
And fantasy.
and fantasy
It was like a dream come to life.
and his music.
Oh, the
Vision of
glam rock,
art rock,
art rock,
theatricality,
and
a
theatricality
unique blend.
was unlike anything else at
Yeah.
the time.
He was ahead of his time, that's for sure.
And it's important to
It is
remember that.
to remember that.
This was the early 70s.
Yeah.
A time when these ideas of gender fluidity.
Gender fluidity.
Yeah.
And challenging
societal norms.
societal norms.
Those were radical ideas back then.
Were far from mainstream.
He was a pioneer.
Bowie, through Ziggy Stardust,
Yeah.
was a pioneer
Absolutely.
using music and performance
As a platform.
as a platform
Yeah.
for pushing boundaries
For sure.
and sparking conversations
About identity.
about identity,
Sexuality.
sexuality,
Self-expression.
and self-expression.
He wasn't afraid to be himself.
He wasn't afraid to be different,
No.
to challenge conventions,
To push the envelope.
and to create a world
Yeah.
where anything
Where anything
felt possible.
felt possible.
That kind of audacity,
It's inspiring.
that willingness to
Yeah.
push boundaries
To break the rules.
and embrace the unconventional
Yeah.
is what makes Ziggy Stardust
Yeah.
such an enduring
Such an icon.
icon.
He still inspires people today.
But as we've seen with Altamont,
Yeah.
the energy of a concert,
Yeah.
the collective emotions of a crowd,
It can be a powerful thing.
can sometimes
Sometimes.
take a darker turn.
For sure.
And unfortunately,
Unfortunately.
that's what happened at Woodstock 99.
Woodstock 99.
Woodstock 99
What a mess.
was supposed to be
Yeah.
a
Trying to
revival
recapture the magic.
of the peace and love spirit
Yeah. Yeah.
of the original festival.
But it didn't quite work out that way.
But it ended up being a
Yeah.
pretty stark reminder
The stark reminder.
of the potential for
Oh, chaos.
and violence
And violence.
at large-scale events.
Yeah.
The organizers
Yeah.
made some
Questionable choice.
questionable choices.
To say the least.
High-ticket prices,
Mm,
poor infrastructure,
yeah. Not enough facilities.
and a lineup that leaned heavily
Yeah.
towards
And
aggressive rock
Yeah.
and rap acts.
Yeah. It was a recipe for disaster.
It created
It's volatile
a
atmosphere.
volatile atmosphere.
You could feel the tension in the air.
And Rage Against the Machine,
Oh, yeah.
with their
Politically charged.
politically charged
Lyrics and their aggressive sound.
lyric
Yeah.
and aggressive sound,
Yeah.
took the stage
Yeah.
on the second night.
They didn't hold back.
Did their performance
That's the question.
contribute
Yeah.
to the escalating tension?
Did they make things worse?
Or were they just reflecting
Or were they just a reflection of what was already there?
the anger
The anger, yeah.
that was already
The simmering beneath the surface.
simmering beneath the surface?
It's a tough one.
It's difficult to say, for sure.
Music has power, you know?
Their music,
Yeah.
with its anti-establishment message
Yeah.
and powerful energy,
Yeah.
certainly resonated
It definitely resonated.
with the frustrations of
Yeah.
generation.
A generation that felt unheard.
I remember seeing footage
Oh, yeah.
of the fires,
Yeah.
the riots,
The
the reports of sexual assault.
It was a dark chapter.
It felt like
Yeah.
the dark underbelly
The dark underbelly.
of that generation's angst
Yeah.
was unleashed.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah,
Woodstock 99,
it's a complex. issue.
instead of being a celebration of peace,
Yeah,
became a symbol of how things can go wrong.
it became a symbol
When
of
you combine that kind of volatile atmosphere with
Yeah.
music.
the potential for
Yeah.
things to go wrong.
Yeah.
When you combine a volatile atmosphere
Yeah.
with music that taps into
Anger and frustration.
anger and frustration,
Yeah.
it raises questions
It does.
about responsibility,
Yeah.
about the role of organizers,
Yeah.
artists,
And even the audience.
and even the audience
Yeah.
in shaping
It takes
an experience of a concert.
it's a shared responsibility.
It's like
a cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale,
Yeah.
reminding us that
Yeah.
the energy of music,
Yeah.
especially when amplified
By a large crowd.
by a large crowd,
Yeah.
can be incredibly
So powerful.
powerful
And unpredictable.
and unpredictable.
For sure.
It can be a force for good,
Yeah.
as we saw with
Live Aid.
Live Aid,
Yeah.
or it can spiral
Or it can spiral.
into something destructive,
Yeah.
as we saw at
Altamont and Woodstock 99.
Altamont
Yeah.
and Woodstock 99.
Two sides of the same coin.
It's a reminder
It is.
that insane
Yeah.
isn't always
It's a positive thing.
a positive thing.
No.
Sometimes it reflects
Yeah.
the darker aspects
Nature aspects.
of our culture,
Yeah.
the anxieties and
The
frustration
things that we're grappling with
yeah,
as a society.
that can erupt
Yeah.
when certain
When certain conditions.
conditions are met.
Yeah.
But before we get
Yeah.
too heavy,
Too heavy.
let's shift gears to a different
Okay.
kind of insane,
Let's hear it.
the raw,
Raw.
untamed energy
Untamed energy.
of the band
Wow.
on the verge
On the verge.
of superstardom.
Oh, I like this.
You're talking about Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses.
At the Ritz.
The Ritz. Okay.
In New York City.
Yeah.
1988.
Right.
Just before Appetite hit.
Just before Appetite for Destruction hit.
Yeah, they were
were
a force to be reckoned with.
a force to be reckoned with.
Even in a small club.
Even in a small, sweaty club.
That raw energy.
Exactly.
Just bottled up.
This wasn't a stadium show.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a raw,
An intimate experience.
intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, a small, sweaty
Experience that captured the band
at their hungriest.
at their hungriest moment.
Well, Axl vocals were ferocious.
Axl Rose's vocals were
Yeah. Slash's guitar riffs were scorching.
Slash's guitar riffs were
Yeah.
scorching.
The whole band was just feeding off the energy of the crowd.
And the entire band was feeding off the energy of the crowd.
They were hungry.
They were hungry.
They were driven.
They were driven.
You can feel that energy.
You can feel that energy.
Yeah.
In every note.
In every scream.
Every scream.
It's a great example of how a smaller, more intimate setting.
It's like catching lightning in a bottle.
Oh, yeah.
That moment before a band explodes
Right before they hit it big.
onto the world stage.
Yeah, that raw energy, that hunger.
And Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
at the Ritz
Uh-huh.
definitely had that magic.
They had that something special.
Okay.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
From the peace and love of Woodstock
Yeah.
to the punk fury of the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, quite a range.
The theatrical brilliance of David Bowie.
It's amazing how much ground we've covered.
In the dark side of festivals.
Yeah. The dark side is always working.
Woodstock 99.
Yeah.
We've seen how insane can manifest in different ways.
Definitely.
Through sheer scale,
Yeah.
musical innovation,
Oh, yeah.
social commentary,
Mm-hmm.
and raw energy.
So many different flavors of insane.
But before we wrap up this sonic journey,
Okay.
we have one more stop.
All right, let's hear it.
Nirvana Festival.
Reading 92.
In 1992.
One for the books.
Ah, Nirvana.
Oh, no, bad.
This performance came at a
Yeah.
pivotal moment for the grunge movement.
They were at the forefront of it all.
And it solidified their place
Yeah.
as one of the defining bands
Oh, yeah.
of the 90s.
Go to the 90s.
And we can't forget Kurt Cobain's
Oh, iconic.
iconic entrance
Yeah.
in a hospital gown,
Yeah.
pushed on stage,
Oh, just on stage.
in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair? I mean, come on.
It was a brilliant move.
It was a
Vulnerability and fragility
fragility.
that Cobain embodied,
Yeah.
but also played into
The media frenzy.
the media frenzy
That whole state,
surrounding his health
Yeah.
and personal struggles.
It was a statement for sure.
It was a statement.
Yeah, he was thumbing his nose at the whole thing.
But once the music started,
Oh, yeah.
the vulnerability
It vanished.
vanished.
He was all power.
Nirvana delivered
A blistering set.
blistering set,
Raw and emotionally charged.
raw and emotionally charged.
You could feel the anger, the pain, the yearning.
Smells Like Teen Spirit
Oh, come on.
became an anthem
An anthem
for a generation,
for a generation.
a cry of angst and rebellion
Yeah.
that resonated
With the disaffection.
with the disaffection and disillusionment.
A lot of young people felt that way.
Many young people
Yeah.
felt at the time.
It was a different world back then.
It wasn't just a performance.
No.
It was a cultural moment.
A cultural moment.
And it solidified Nirvana's place
In the pantheon of rock.
in rock history,
Yeah.
a testament to the power
Of raw emotion.
of raw emotion
And authenticity.
and authenticity, keeping it real.
It's a fitting way.
To end our
Yeah.
exploration of insane
Insane
concerts.
so far.
So far.
We've seen how these performances can transcend
They go beyond
the music itself.
the notes on the page.
Reflecting cultural shifts.
Cultural shifts.
Societal anxieties.
Yeah.
And the raw power,
Raw power.
of human expression.
It's a beautiful thing.
But what about you?
What about me?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do I think?
Which concerts from recent years?
That's a good question.
Have the potential
Yeah.
to become
Become future.
insane concert legends?
Insane concert legends. Let me think.
What moments in music history are we witnessing right now?
That's the question, isn't it?
That might be talked about
Yeah.
for decades to come.
For decades to come. Wow.
So we're back to Woodstock 99.
Back to the chaos.
It was supposed to be like
Yeah.
a revival,
Uh-huh.
of peace and love.
The spirit of the original.
But it didn't quite.
Things went sideways.
Yeah, it was more like a dystopian
It
nightmare.
really was.
Yeah.
It makes you think, like, was it ever even
possible. Yeah.
to recreate that
At Magic's.
Woodstock magic
Yeah.
30 years later.
I don't know. The world was a different place.
The world was such a different place.
Everything had changed.
The music had changed.
The music.
Expectations
Yeah.
had changed.
Yeah, I think it was a recipe for disaster from the start.
It really was.
You think about the late 90s.
Yeah.
It was all about that, like, angst-ridden,
Yeah.
post-grunge
Yeah.
energy.
Like Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit.
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, all that anger and frustration.
Yeah, the music was aggressive,
Yeah.
raw,
Yeah.
fueled by
Disillusion.
the sense of
The
disillusion.
general malaise.
Yeah, and then you throw in the
Mm.
commercialization,
Oh, yeah.
the high ticket prices,
Yeah, not cheap.
the sweltering heat,
It was like a furnace out there.
the lack of basic necessities.
Not enough water, not enough shade.
like water.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no wonder things spiraled out of control.
It was a tinderbox just waiting for a spark.
yeah.
And there were a lot of sparks.
He took all the ingredients
True.
of the original Woodstock.
Yeah.
the youth.
The music.
The desire for freedom.
Desire for freedom.
What they forgot about the peace and love part.
And they just cranked them up to 11
It was too much.
without considering
Right.
the potential consequences.
They didn't think it through.
You know, the original Woodstock
Yeah.
was definitely chaotic,
Oh, for sure.
but there was also this
This sense of community.
sense of community,
People helping each other out.
a shared purpose.
Yeah. Like we're all in this together.
At Woodstock 99,
Yeah.
it felt
Life
like
is different.
that sense of unity,
Had been replaced by something
more individualistic,
more individualistic.
Yeah.
Almost
nihilistic.
nihilistic.
Yeah.
Every man for himself.
Yeah.
It's like the idealism of the 60s
Yeah.
had morphed into this cynical,
Yeah.
almost
The
apocalyptic,
apocalyptic outlook.
like the world was ending
Yeah.
and the music was just fuel for the fire.
And the music reflected that.
It did.
Do you remember that moment
Really?
when the Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah.
played Fire by Jimi Hendrix
I remember that.
and the crowd
They lost it.
started lighting bonfires?
Bonfires,
This
yeah.
is like the symbolic
Yeah.
culmination
All that chaos and destruction
of the chaos and
he
destruction.
had been building all
It
weekend.
had been built
It was like a scene from a
a
movie.
weekend.
Yeah.
It was surreal.
It's chilling to think
Yeah.
that a performance
A performance?
intended as a tribute
Yeah.
could take on
Such a different meaning.
a completely different meaning
Yeah.
when it's played in a specific context.
Context is everything.
Yeah.
To a crowd that's
Triumph for chaos.
primed for chaos.
They were just waiting for an excuse.
It's a reminder that artists have a responsibility
Yeah.
to be mindful of the power
the power of music.
of their music,
Yeah.
how it might
Be interpreted.
be interpreted or misinterpreted.
But it's not just the artists.
Right, right. The
Yeah.
organizers.
The organizers,
The security.
the media,
What?
the media.
They all played a role
Yeah, all played a role
in shaping how things unfolded.
in shaping the events
Yeah.
of Woodstock 99.
It was a collective failure.
It was a collective failure.
Nobody comes out of that looking good.
And it's a reminder that events like these
Yeah.
don't happen in a vacuum.
No, they're a product of their time.
They're a reflection of
The time.
time,
The cultural.
the anxieties and frustrations,
And a generation.
of a generation.
It's like holding up a mirror.
It's like we've been time traveling
It's true.
through these concerts,
Yeah.
witnessing the evolution of
Of music and culture.
music and culture
over the decades.
over the decades.
From peace and love to angst and chaos.
We've seen the
Yeah.
peace and love of the 60s,
The rebellion of the 70s.
the rebellion of the 70s,
The theatricality of the 80s.
the theatricality of the 80s,
And the angst of the 90s.
the angst of the 90s.
What a ride.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, it has.
And what's so fascinating
What's that?
is that each of these
Each of these.
insane concerts
Yeah.
offers a glimpse
A glimpse
into
of
a
specific
moment in time,
moment in time.
a snapshot of
A
history,
snapshot of the
social and cultural forces at play.
social and cultural forces at play.
It's fascinating.
It's like they're
sonic time capture,
the sonic time capturing the energy of a generation,
capturing the energy,
the emotion,
the emotions,
dreams,
the dreams,
the fears,
all wrapped up in
music of a generation.
Yeah,
And as we look back
yeah,
on these events,
yeah,
we can't help but wonder,
yeah. What about the future?
what will the future
Yeah,
say about the concerts
The concerts of today.
of our time.
Yeah.
What moments
Of insanity.
of insanity
Are happening right now.
are happening right now
That will be talked about for years to come.
that will become
Yes.
the legends of
Oh.
tomorrow?
It's exciting to think about.
Which artists are pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
challenging conventions,
Breaking the rules.
and creating experiences
that will be talked about
for decades to come?
for decades to come.
Yeah.
It's an exciting thought,
It is.
isn't it?
The music keeps evolving.
The music
The culture keeps shifting.
keeps evolving.
And who knows what's next?
The culture keeps shifting.
Yeah.
And who knows
Yeah.
what incredible,
Incredible.
mind-blowing,
Mind-blowing.
and perhaps even insane events
Well,
are
and
waiting
to be written into the history books
to be written
Yeah.
into the history
of music.
of music.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of
It
it.
is.
Right.
The story's never over.
The story of music
Yeah.
is always
Be written.
and we're all
And we're all a part of it.
part of it.
Every concert, every album, every song.
Every concert we attend,
Yeah.
every album,
Yeah.
we listen to every song we share.
We're all adding to the soundtrack.
It all contributes to this
Right.
ever-evolving tapestry.
Ever evolving
Of sound
experience.
So keep listening.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring
Keep your ears open
for those moments.
for those moments that make you say,
Yeah.
wow,
Wow. That was insane.
that was
Yeah.
insane.
Because those are the moments that matter,
Because those are the moments that
Yeah.
shape our culture,
that shape our culture,
define our generation,
define our generation,
and become the stories we tell
the stories we tell
for years to come.
for years to come.
Exactly.
And who knows, maybe we'll be back here
And who knows?
on the deep dive,
Maybe one day we'll be
Yeah.
back here
dissecting the insane concerts.
on the deep dive,
Huge.
dissecting the insane concerts
Yeah.
of the 2020s
The 2020s and beyond.
and beyond.
It's going to be wild.
Until then,
Yeah.
keep the music playing.
Keep the music playing.